Hello, everyone. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie with no name. Enjoy the movie. Casper is a member of the MS-13 gang. He lives in the small Mexican town Tapachula, located on the border with Guatemala, and intends to recruit a 12-year-old kid, Benito. The grandmother protects her grandson from the gangster life as much as she can, but the child is still presented to the head of the local cell, a famous gang, as it usually happens. He has to undergo initiation through a mass beating by other members of the MS-13. The execution continued until Lil Mago did not count to 13. The beaten boy began to smile, for which he received the nickname Smiley. Honduran girl Sarah intends to leave her hometown and make her way to the United States with her uncle and father, whom she has not seen for many years. A flower seller sues Casper for getting his young friend into trouble. After buying a small bouquet, the young man snuck into his girlfriend's room. Petty peeked at what they are doing there. The girl nudes. Casper for some reason does not invite her anywhere, and they meet only at her house. Casper asks the kid not to tell anyone about where they were today. Lil Mega must not know anything about it. Teenagers came to the gangster's den. The newcomer needs to settle in and get acquainted with other gang members. In one of the cabins there are collected weapons, but first you have to earn the right to use them. Lil Mega came out to the friends with a baby in his arms and escorted the subordinates to the cages. There was a guy waiting for his fate, having decided to escape from a rival gang. He was caught trying to leave town on a train and now promises to be cut into 18 pieces. Benito was handed a homemade barrel and ordered to execute the prisoner. As promised, the poor man is chopped up and fed to the dogs. Lil Mega tells the boy that now he has 1,000 brothers, and wherever he goes there will always be someone who will protect him, but Casper has a claim to him. The boy was supposed to live in the area of the railroad, but the bandits did not see him there. However, Casper denies that he went anywhere. At the same time, the family, after a 3-day grueling trek, reached the border of Mexico and Guatemala. Border guards took all the migrants into a small room, forced them to undress and empty their pockets. The family was allowed to proceed, and they ended up at the train station in the town of Tapachula. They took a break in one of the cars. While the uncle went to buy a couple of bottles of water, the father informed Syra that they would have to travel to the U.S. border for at least 2 more weeks. Less than half of all migrants survive such an ordeal. We learn that the father has another family and wants to reunite with them after being deported back to Honduras. Syra is grateful that he took her with him. Casper meets up with Martha again. He dreams that someday they will go to Texas together. Martha is jealous of Casper. She thinks he is hiding her from everyone to have fun with other girls. But then she catches the eye of Saul, the second man in the gang after Lil Mega. The guy lied that Martha was just a friend. The girl resented him even more. The train arrived at the station, which was waiting for migrants. It was already crowded. The hares were sitting on the roofs. Despite this, Syra and her relatives climbed on it, but they were awaited by terrible news. Another train derailed many victims, so they will not go anywhere today. The migrants slept right on the ground. Now they will have to wait for the next train. Lil Mega has gathered the gang at the cemetery. He wants to punish Casper and Benito for lying to him. They were away from their post after all and missed a bandit from the enemy group. Now he wants to know the truth about where they went, but Casper won't admit it. Sol took away his gun for his offense. Benito also kept his mouth shut. Marta came to the cemetery at the wrong time. She decided to show everyone that the guy is dating her. Lil Mega comes to the cemetery. He forbids Casper to walk her home. He will do it himself, and the guy will have to endure a 13-second punishment. For his lies, the same 13 seconds the kid will have to survive a hail of blows. Lil Mega did not go far. He realized that Casper lied to him because of this girl. He ordered March to sit next to him and began to harass her. The girl realized she was in trouble, but it was too late. Martha tried to fight back and run away, but Lil Mega kicked her and the girl smashed her head against the slab. She's dead. The bandit calmly walked past Casper and told him that Marta was gone. You'll find someone else. He threw, and if Casper ever lied to him again, he would kill the 6 with his own hands. The migrants waited for the next train, they climbed on the cars, and the train moved. Here came Lil Mega and the young bandits. They also climbed on one of the wagons. In the afternoon it rained heavily. The migrants tried to escape it and the bandits were about to shake the last of their belongings out of them. Benito was given a self-shooter, Casper a machete. Lil Mega himself pointed a gun at the poor people and demanded all the money. They robbed a family from Honduras. The villain attacked Syra and sat on top of her. Maybe Casper imagined his martyr in the poor girl's place. Because when the train moved, he slashed Lil Mega in the neck with his machete. He quickly bled out and the guy threw the body of the authority figure down. He also made Bennett jump off the train so the kid could go home. The migrants fear the young bandit and intend to throw him off the train. Casper had been up all night and began to doze off. Several men headed towards him with a machete and a rock, but Syra screamed and wouldn't let her savior get hurt. A loving father and just a good guy, Lil Mega was memorialized by the whole gang. The gangsters made horns and shed a tear. For the murder of the main man, the small one has to answer for it. How come he didn't have a bullet to kill the renegade? Soul threatens to kick Benito out of the fraternity to prove his loyalty. The kid asks to be sent to find and kill Casper. Soul hands Benito a gun and ammunition and sends him to find the fugitive. But if he doesn't kill him, Benito better not go back. During another stop, the migrants drew water from a muddy creek. Soul sent Casper a threatening text message. Syra came up to him, gave him her name and some food. Already tough and having seen things, Benito brags to his peers about the gun and the mission to take down his friend. Kill him, but be careful, instruct Benito the minnow. Casper decided to get some sleep after all, and to avoid falling off the train he tied himself to the car. In the morning he threw his phone away. The train reached its terminus. At the station, the migrants took water and cleaned themselves up, the women made lunch, and the men lined up to call their families. Syra went to Casper, who was hiding in a small house. He does not know what he will do next. Syra promises to bring him food. Her father asks her to stay away from the bandit. They still have a long way to go and nothing should hold them back. Benito stops in one of the towns and immediately finds his own people. They know what happened in Tapacula and offer the young brother food and lodging. Syra offers the bandit to go with them to New Jersey. Only the guy worries that he'll be caught sooner or later. Brigade does not forgive such a thing, and he is right. The members of MS-13 growl around the station and question the inhabitants. Whether they have not seen a guy with a tattoo in the form of a tear, and one homeless man showed them where the fugitive moved. Casper got close to the girl and started riding next to her family. Unequal people pelted the migrants with fruit. At one station Casper advised everyone to get down. The immigration police are in full force here. The trespassers did just that and started running along the train. The bandits came along too. When Casper saw them, he ran away and hid in the depot. As it happened, Benito's main men strayed into another gang's territory and were fired upon. One of the MS-13 members was close to finding Casper, but got distracted by the foil. The main guy barely got away and ran over the six. They didn't help him either and lost Casper. The guy was able to get back to the train. The Honduran family finally accepted him, but Casper didn't want to get them in trouble and jumped off the train while his companions were sleeping, and then he saw that Syra had followed him. It was too late to go back. The train had left. Casper wonders why she did it. He is already dead anyway, but now the girl is not waiting for anything good. The brothers wake up and see that Syra has escaped. Casper has a gangster friend in town, Aunt Tanya. She is surprised to hear that the guy wants to help the girl without getting anything in return. She also warns him that he's got a bleak future. The guys from MS-13 have already visited her. Casper hopes Tanya won't turn him in. Syra's uncle has spent her entire childhood with the girl and would like to wait for her at the station, but his brother convinces him that they must move on or they will never make it. Tanya helped the youth to reach the north of the country. The bandits have already left message charts on the wall that Casper will not get away with it. When he and his girlfriend climbed onto the car carrier, Tanya called Soul so the girl would realize how dangerous it was to be around him. Casper began to show his scars from shootouts with the police or beatings by gang members. His love was recently murdered, and now he could ruin her life. Closer to the U.S. border, Hondurans are stoned by schoolchildren. They demand that the migrants return home. Time after time, Casper's digital camera revisits a video of Martha, the guy who has unearthed his tear tattoo. The caravan was inspected at a roadblock by the military, but they found no illegals. Sarah's family was caught up by immigration police. Her father tried to run away, but fell between the cars and died under the wheels of the train. Tanya ratted out her friend, so the bandit squad was already waiting for the delinquent fighter in the junkyard. However, Casper was lucky. He and Sarah jumped off the truck early to get to a migrant shelter and finally wash up. At the shelter, a guy took Casper aside and said that they didn't want people like him here. A scuffle started. The guy was pulled aside, a man who was traveling with the family. He told Sarah that her uncle had been deported, her father was dead. The girl cried and ran away. 3 days later, the couple continued their journey, Casper believing that they can succeed and agreed to go with his companion to New Jersey. They found a man who ferries migrants across the river, but he can take only one person at a time. Casper agrees and pays the man with his camera to be the first one to get to the other side. Halfway across, she saw bandits running out of the bushes and opening fire at Casper. The young man tried to run away, but ran into his friend Bennett. The kid pointed a gun at him and with the words, "Brigade Forever," shot Casper in cold blood. The body was surrounded by the rest of the MS-13 and was riddled with gunfire. All this happened in front of Sarah. She somehow got to the other side, and the bandits committed the execution and left the scene of the crime. Uncle does not give up hope to get to the U.S. This time he will try his luck on a raft. Benito, as a full-fledged member of the gang tattooed, and Sarah found herself in America, went to the nearest pay phone and called his father's second wife. Hopefully something will be done to help her.